Well, we knew this time had to come, the final day of our West Coast trip, outer limits and beaches on the moon. Amazingly, we were still kept entertained with even more sights to see and places to visit.
On day 6, we're leaving Onich and we're heading south again. We have left this remoteness behind, so we're going to get ourselves into a lot more traffic and so on. But we come down some lovely little spots down here, Onich, where there's some fantastic sights and so on, ending up back at Tyndrum. That's our lunch, then we're south, taking us back down through all the more glens and right back down here, where we join the motorway and we end up in Linlithgow.
On a rather drizzly morning, our first stop was just around the corner from our hotel at the River Onich. You should know that there are no valleys in Scotland. They're all glens. And this morning we've already visited one of the most famous, Glen Coe, and we've come down to this one that is no less spectacular, though a little smaller. It's called Onich. The river shares the same name, and it is a treacherous stretch of water out there. People have even kayaked down it. Me, I think I'll stick to my bike and dry land. Throughout the trip, we had been so busy we hadn't really had time to talk to Peter properly, so we took some time out of our final day to find out more about Highland Rider. Peter, first of all then, tell me how this came about. Why did you start doing this?
Well, I started this because an idea came to me 3-4 years ago, and I just love biking, and I thought there's nobody in Scotland doing quality tours with quality hotels and organised with a bike. The insurance, the ferries, everything like that, organised for them. Now that takes out a lot of hassle for everybody that come with us. They don't need to think, they just go and enjoy riding our fantastic biking roads. So I thought, well, I'll just put this together.
Now you run tours all the time, it's what you now do for a living. So you've got to know the answer to this, and that is, what is the key to a successful tour? Be it coming with somebody like you or just taking off on your own and doing your own thing. How do you make a good bike tour?
Well, I think safety is one thing, planning is another. And planning is definitely high on the agenda, what you've got to plan for your fuel stops. You find people in the middle of the Highlands running out of fuel that do not know where the nearest petrol station is. In fact, there's been quite a few jokes about that.
And just when you're actually out there leading, when you're riding at the front on your bike, are you still enjoying it, or is it a job?
No, I'm enjoying it. The day I don't enjoy it is the day I won't be up there, and I will be on that bike for a long time.
Excellent, Pete. The final stop on our tour was a little closer to home in the Trossachs, when we visited the infamous Rob Roy's grave. Time then to stretch the legs and get a bit of a sightseeing stop, and actually at quite a significant spot, really. Where are we?
We're in the Brace of Balwhidder, where Rob Roy country, where Rob Roy has lived and died.
And he's here.
He's here, and this is where he lies dead.
Buried in this very graveyard. Just remember, who was Rob Roy then?
Rob Roy was he was a cattle dealer in the old days, and there was no such thing as bankers in these days, and the cattle dealers were the bankers, and he knew these hills and glens like the back of his hand, and he was accused of wrongdoing by Montrose. Now they hunted for him and they persecuted him, and they persecuted all the MacGregors, and eventually he got pardoned, and he went back home and he lived in his house in the Braes there, and now he's here.
And he retired in these hills?
He retired in these hills.
Do you know, I reckon if they'd been around, he'd have ridden a bike.
I definitely think he was the type of guy that would ride bikes, definitely.
He'd have ridden a bike, blatting around these hills. Excellent, well we better saddle up and ride ourselves.
Okay,
So,
let's
cheers,
get
Rob.
going.
Take care.
Bye.
Well, that's it. In 6 days we've done not interstellar mileages, 800 to be precise, but 180 of them were by sea, and the rest were frankly amazing. And if I've learned one thing, it is that you do not need to travel to the other side of the globe to find incredible places to go on a bike. I am exhausted, and I've earned, I think, a bit of a rest.
I think before you have your rest, have a beer, Richard. You deserve it.
Peter, thank you very much. I will.
Cheers.
Cheers.